Dystopia tonight. Dystopia tonight.
Hey.
Hi, guys.
Hey, how are you?
How are you?
I'm great. Well, I'm a wreck, actually, but I'm all right.
Is this a post-COVID wreck, or is this just a genuine life wreck?
No. This is let me just explain. My lockdown has lasted 3 months longer than everybody else's.
Oof,
because
why?
I had on April 13th, I had reconstructive foot surgery on my left foot because my whole foot had fallen apart. And don't ask me to explain it. It's a long and tedious explanation. But you know how your foot goes like that? You know how your foot goes like that?
Yeah.
Eventually mine went like that.
Oh.
So I had no support. You know how the leg bone's connected to the heel bone, you know, like that?
Yeah.
It's supposed to connect like that. Mine was like that.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It got to the point where, and my profession is stand-up comedy. And so, you know, I thought, well, if I'm going to stand up, I got to be able to fucking stand up.
Right.
I mean, it was so painful before I did this. It had been coming on and been wearing orthotics for a year and a half. I wore a brace. I went to this, the surgeon a year and a half ago, the surgeon sent me to this place where they make prosthetic limbs. You know,
oh wow,
and he made a foot brace that literally held up my foot, so that I could walk. But after about wearing that thing for a year and a half, it got so I couldn't even take that. And then about 4 months ago, I went to my podiatrist in the hopes that I would get new orthotics for the shoes, and he said his exact words were, "Jim, what are you still doing with this fucking foot? Get it fixed." And I figured, I figured that now was the time. This one, you know who the comedian Tim Young is? Yeah. Well, I put out an all points bulletin on Facebook that said, "I'm looking at this episode. Anybody done this?" And Tim had done it, and it's pretty much exactly the same thing that I got. So he was able to walk me through it and tell me what to expect, and he was a big help. You know, it's nice. Interesting when you put out a thing that says help, people come and help. You know, there's really a lot of good out there. They don't go fuck him, let him struggle to get to CVS, which is 1 block away. But anyway, so I've been getting around. Let me show you this contraption. I've been getting around on this. This is a knee scooter. You've seen one of these, right?
Holy shit! Yeah, I have seen one of those.
You know, so I put my knee there, and I scoot along, because I'm not supposed to touch the ground for 12 weeks. Okay, so it's been 12 weeks, and I'm still about 2 to 3 weeks out of it but I hope to be walking by the end of July, because it doesn't hurt at all. It's just that, you know. And then when I go into the doctor last week, he tells me that I have 2 infected teeth and I have to have those removed. So he puts me on an antibiotic. Then I come back out here to Fire Island, and yesterday I woke up with rash all over my fucking body, which itches like a motherfucker. And it turns out that it was a reaction to the antibiotic. So I am, for the last 2 days, I have been a fucking mess because I've been a real good patient with this foot thing. I'm over it. I'm ready to go back to work and just even do a spot at a club. You know, I did a few spots at the Comedy Cellar and at the Strip and at Gotham after April 2nd when it opened. And I hadn't done anything since November. I did a COVID safe Club Med in Dominican Republic in November, and that was the last time that I worked. So, but also, you know what? It's been, this whole experience has been very interesting for me because, on the one hand, I said last February, I said, I've been on the road for 34 years, off and on, and I'd like a break. Well, I got a break. I meant a couple of months.
This is your fault.
Yeah. I didn't mean a couple of months. I just meant I want to take a break for a couple of months, and then all of a sudden, what happened?
Right.
Where it's where this album came from. I did the last transatlantic cruise from Florida to Spain last March 1 to 13. Right.
Holy shit.
And
right.
I record all of my I record all of my sets with this really high quality digital recorder. Most of them I end up throwing them away after I listen, but I always get, I mean, that's why so many comedians wrote so little material in the last year, because we didn't have an audience.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
You know, you have to have an audience in order to do this crazy, because I even make jokes about it to the audience. I say, you know, if I do a new joke and it bombs, I'll say, you know, I had the highest hopes for that joke, but you guys are the ultimate boss because you didn't laugh at it. And who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you? You have no expertise whatsoever. But I have to listen to the audience. You know.
You were on the water before right before COVID hit and right up to the point where it hit.
Okay, it's March 1 through 13.
Right.
On March 11 was when Trump pulled that European travel ban out of his ass without telling. He just got on TV and said, and he didn't tell his staffers. he didn't tell the Europeans.
Right.
And so, and everybody that was on that ship had extended European vacations planned. And they all of a sudden on March the 12th, they had to go online and pay exorbitant amounts of money to come back home because, you know. Yeah. And I was at a cocktail party on the last night, and this one man comes up to me and he goes, "You're the comedian, aren't you? Why don't you do a joke about that stupid motherfucker who spent $5,000 to get home early?" And I said, "Who was that?" And he said, "Me."
Wow.
Right.
Oh, that's pretty great.
So I came home, and then that's when everything shut down. 2 days after I got home on March the 15th.
That's a fucking close call though, because I know people who got stuck on those ships. Like that was they didn't see it coming and they couldn't make it back in time.
Yeah.
Was there any concern?
I made it back. On time with no problem. And then all of a sudden we were in lockdown, and then all of a sudden we're told to disinfect our groceries, which is I was spraying my box of rice checks with Lysol.
I know. We didn't even know. And it was so, did you do it like, I did it like such a half-ass way half the time when I would get home, because at first, the first couple rounds, I was like, everything was going down. By like a month in, I was like, taking the cloth and like, all right, whatever, little dab here, little dab there.
Not really. My wife was spraying the, like I would taste it in the food. I'm like, this is
really?
Oh,
no.
I don't want this.
Oh yeah.
I had a friend who told me, who was in the health industry, and they were just kind of like, it can't be transferred through food. Like, you're gonna digest it, your acid's gonna break it up. And then I was like, I'll take her word for it.
We don't know it, but we didn't know anything. Remember, it was like the first 2 months after lockdown. I would say that my daily mood ranged from paralyzing fear to murderous rage, because I thought Trump was doing such a god awful job of leadership, and I don't care what party. I don't care what party you're in. He didn't know what the hell he was doing. He thought he knew everything. He wouldn't listen to the authorities. He said, no, it's fine. It'll be gone soon. It's going to go away. Then he said, we're going to be open by Easter. I'd love to see the churches packed in Easter. See, he has to give a shout out to all his Christian audience. You know, that man's got, yes, he believes in Jesus and he's got my back. That's right. You know, because I'm from North Carolina, so I know those people.
I wanted those churches. Yeah, I wanted those churches open just to thin the herd a little bit, you know? Like, I was like, yes, let them open the churches.
Yeah. I don't think all of us feel the same. I don't think all of us have ever wanted so many people to die as we have during the last year.
So that is so fucking true. And like, were you one of those people, like I started off feeling really not good about it, but like I'm stunned at. I have to probably start looking into this into therapy or something like that. But I'm stunned at how relieved I was when the world was ending. I was like, this feels great. I was like,
oh no, I didn't feel
first month or so.
I didn't feel like that at all.
But then when I started paying attention to the politics, that's when it drove me crazy.
Yeah, it drove me crazy. I couldn't, because it wasn't enough that, I mean, I lost, and I'm sure you did too. We all comedians lost our entire, we all lost our entire year of work. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, every gig that I had for 2020 was canceled.
Yes,
and it wasn't all canceled at once. It was like, well, let's just wait and see.
I know it was like they were slowly pulling out knives because I still had dates, that I didn't want to just, whatever. You were like hoping something would happen, and then nothing happened, and it was just fucking
interesting. Awful. It's like we're in a profession where you cannot work from home. I mean, right. Some people have done it. Some people did it successfully a little bit, but you cannot work from home.
No, you can't.
We've done these Zoom shows and stuff like this, and they're interesting. I mean, this whole era has brought up a whole. You wouldn't be doing this show if it wasn't for the pandemic.
Exactly. No, right. I wouldn't. I wouldn't be talking to you or a celebrity. I mean, I'd be talking to you, but not like this. And I wouldn't be talking to Ed Asner or the lead singer ever, anybody, if it wasn't for COVID.
Randomly. Yeah.
Tommy Chong randomly. Yeah, exactly. These guys I wouldn't be doing any of this. I never wanted to be at a desk. I like the road. I like backpacks and bags and hotel rooms and all that shit.
Well, I'm a little over that, which is why I started to.
Well, hold on. You're not just over it. You're above it. Let's put it that way. You're not just humbly over it. You don't need to do it.
No, I don't. But not anymore. I don't see. I just the idea of going to the Funny Bone in Columbus, Ohio, and staying in a Holiday Inn Express, and the only place to eat is an Olive Garden. This to me is hell on earth. This is hell on earth. There's a really good book. There's a really good book that Mark Schiff and Rich Scheidner put together called "I Killed."
I know. I love that book. I have it.
It's about horrible road stories.
Yeah,
and I gave it.
It's a great book.
I gave it to my dad for Christmas one year, and he said, "That's the most depressing thing I've ever read. I can't believe you guys have to put up with that shit." So
did you ever get to take your dad out on the road with you or anything like that?
No, I didn't. No, never. No.
Never.
They came and saw my shows. I'm from Asheville, North Carolina, so whenever I was doing a show around there, they would come and see it. And they've got great senses of humor. Like the joke that closes the. I mean, I just have to say things that my dad told me. Like my dad. they live in a retirement community, and my dad said to this man, "I've planned my funeral and I've paid for it." And then the man said, "When is it?"
Oh, that's great. That's good. They've got that's nice that they've got a good sense of humor. Did you get it from because they say comedy, comedic chops always skip a generation. So who do you think it skipped? Was it your dad that was super funny? Your mom?
They were both hilarious. They're both still alive. My mother's 92 and my father's 93.
Wow! Oh my God, that is awesome.
Yeah, I FaceTime with them just about every day.
Wow,
and
that's incredible.
My mother's ability to not stop mothering me is in full swing. She says, "Well, you look like you need a shave," and I'm like, "Well, I just haven't shaved." Well, don't you want to look nice? And I'm in my 60s. It's yes, I want to look nice, but come on,
That's too funny. No.
And then another thing that my father said was, I was at a hotel in Atlantic City, the Borgata, and I woke up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. But instead of walking into the bathroom, I just walked out in the hall. And the door shut behind me, and there I am standing in the hall naked. And I immediately woke up. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm standing in the hall naked, and I looked down the hall and I saw a room service tray. And so I went down and I got one of those napkins from the room service tray, and I covered my dick. And I found the security phone on the wall, and I went up and I called him and I said, "Listen, you have to come let me into 3608. I mistakenly came out here and I'm naked in the hall." And the guy on the phone said, "We know. We see you on the TV. We know."
Oh my God.
So when I got home, I called my dad and I told him that story, and he said without a beat, "You mean you can cover it up with just a napkin?"
Oh my God, that's fucking great.
That just came out of him.
Oh, that's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Have you been back there since? You haven't been able to see them. Right?
I was able to see them April 1 through 6. Because when I decided when we all got vaccinated, I got vaccinated back in February and March, and they got vaccinated like in February. They live in this deluxe retirement community that would get them in buses and take them to Walgreens.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I was able to see them first week of April before I had my operation.
That's good.
So
that's awesome. Yeah. So you feel like I feel like you've kind of, other than the leg thing, entered almost a somewhat normal, because you're on vacation, you're in Fire Island.
I'm really not on vacation. I am on vacation because I'm not going to go back to work until mid-September.
Right. That's what a vacation. I know you told me you weren't going back to work, so that to me is a vacation. I was like, he's not doing stand-up until September.
Well, I'm writing. I mean, I'm busy. I'm doing stuff. I'm finishing up my script, and I had to do a lot of press for the album. Let me tell you how the album happened.
Please.
Yeah. Well,
also, can you also tell me about the art too? Because I love that's a great.
Well, I had to do this gig in Club Med in November, and I hadn't done my show for 7 months.
Right.
So I went back and I started listening to all these recordings from that final crossing. You got it. And as I was listening to that, I went, "There's a lot of material here that I've never released on an album." And I bet if I could cut this together so that it was obviously recorded on a ship, obviously, and I include ship material. That's not specific to the cruise line, but it's specific to any ship or anybody that's ever been on a cruise.
Right.
And the room that I was playing in was a 100-seat comedy club, so with a low ceiling, so you can hear every laugh. You know how that is.
Right.
That's great.
And so I contacted my producer from Stand Up Records, which is my label. And I said, "What if I release this album that's obviously a cruise ship album?" And he said, "Send it to me and I'll listen to it and we'll see." And he called me back and said, "We're done. You've got another album."
Wow.
And so he said, you should design the cover based on a classic cruise poster. So my friend Robert is a graphic designer, and we found all these, classic cruise posters, and that's the final result right there. I think the album cover is very funny for anybody who knows comedy, because this couple in Florida, and I'm harassing them on deck with a mic.
I noticed that. I just love the expression of the couple too, that they're like, "Oh my God."
They're like, "What? Who the hell is this?
What is going on?" But I love it, man, because it does look like a postcard from a cruise too. Yeah,
exactly. And I called it gay jokes for straight cruisers, because that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. Because
how was it piecing together all that material though? While you were like, was it? Are you one of those people who can actually like fine tune and listen to their own material without it driving them crazy? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Oh sure. I have no problem.
That's nice.
With that. Yeah, I don't like to look at myself on camera.
Okay.
That I don't like, which is why that's why Tough Crowd with Colin Quinn was a bit of an ordeal for me, because the camera would always catch me at a, just a bizarre expression.
I never noticed. You used to crush on that show, dude. I loved when you were on that show.
Well, it was life or death. I mean, I had to crush, because they would have eaten me alive.
I was gonna say, did you ever get like, because I don't know what those commercial breaks were like, but were you ever like annoyed with each other? in those moments? Were you ever like, would you fucking get off my dick?
I thought that I was going to strangle Patrice O'Neal. I thought I was going to strangle him.
Really?
It cuts back from commercial and you're just like choking him out.
Yeah, no, he was a very nasty man to me. And I'm sorry that he has, yes, he was horrible. And I'm sorry that he passed on, but he just got it in his mind that he was going to harass me. And he would say openly anti-gay things about me on the air and backstage to fuck me up before we went on. And it was it wasn't funny. It was just sadism on his part, I thought.
Right.
And so that was very difficult. The other guys, most of the other guys were great to me, because but Patrice had a way of ragging on you, which made you think, not only does he not respect my work, he doesn't even respect me as a human being.
Right.
So that was what made it very difficult.
Yeah, because I was going to say, I mean, they did pair you with Patrice a lot. It was you, one of the ones I was thinking, it was you, Geraldo, Patrice, and I want to say, obviously, Jim Norton, but there was another guy that it wasn't usually on with you on one episode. Who?
Keith Robinson.
That's it.
The six.
He seemed like he was chill.
The five regulars. Yeah, the five regulars that were on every week were Keith Robinson, Greg Giraldo, also may he rest in peace. Nick DiPaolo, Jim Norton, and Patrice O'Neal. And then there were three semi-regulars. We'd be on every couple of weeks. That was me and Judy Gold and Rich Voss.
Judy Gold, right?
Yeah, and so they would have us on a lot, and so it was really fun. But it was a difficult show because Colin, and I love Colin Quinn, but he has the attention span of a fruit fly. So all of a sudden he starts talking about when the soldiers should withdraw from Iraq, and then it quickly moved into a discussion of the waitresses that Rich Voss had slept with on the road. It was from soldier to that. So,
well, that had to be a quick segment.
Yeah, it actually was not. It actually was not.
Those poor waitresses.
Before he was married. Yeah, that was before he was married to Bonnie.
Before Bonnie.
Anyway,
they said he had an
but that was
forever.
Yeah,
yeah.
He was in shape for a while there. He was in pretty good shape for a while, I think.
He's probably still in pretty good shape.
What is Colin was in your, because who did you come up with? What was your class? Was Colin Quinn in your class?
Yeah.
Because I feel like the other guys weren't. It must have been you.
You mean the generation of comedians?
Yeah, generation of comedians that you remember being in the club with.
All of these guys were in my class. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. I started doing comedy in 1986, and the first club. Yeah, the first club that what year were you born, John?
I was born in 84.
I started when you were 4 years old.
Yep.
God. But anyway, God. You don't know anything.
Yeah, no.
That was back when we could swallow.
Tell me about the comedy boom, Jim.
Yeah, it was very different from today because all you had to do was audition at a club and they passed you or they didn't.
Yeah.
And the first club that I auditioned was called Comedy U, and that was on Grand Street and West Broadway. And it was a great little room. I loved it. And I started off there with Ray Romano and Joy Behar and Mario Cantone. And Judy Gold.
Holy shit!
And then a lot of other comics that sort of went away. You know what I mean? They just sort of They just we don't see them much anymore. And then I auditioned for Catch a Rising Star, and I got past there. And then the comic strip and Dangerfields. And so I was making my living in comedy within about 8 months.
Wow! So wait, what was your first paid gig? Was it at that club?
No, my first paid gig was at the open mic that I auditioned at the first time I ever did stand-up, and they hired me like 2 weeks later to open for this singer. So I came, so that was my first paid gig. That was at a combination cabaret and Thai restaurant around.
Oh wow!
From Port Authority called the Lotus Room, and it was a Thai restaurant. It's not there anymore. It's been gone for a long.
No, I know it's gone, but I think I've.
Yeah, they had a zapper over the stage, and so you'd hi, my name is Jim, and I'm from North Carolina.
Oh my God, that's great.
Then, like a lot of the Thai people in the back, while you were doing your show, they'd be going, like in the back of the restaurant. And I went up to the manager one night and I said, could you tell these people to be quiet during the comedy show? And he goes, those my customer, no you. my customer can do what they want.
You're like, so that's a no then.
so that's a no. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
But that was back. Huh?
How much so you went from doing the open mic night to then them asking you to open for somebody. How much material did you have?
20 minutes.
Wow. That's phenomenal, man.
20 minutes of it was not great material by any means.
Right.
But people laughed at it.
Sure.
So,
well, what was do you remember? Some people don't remember this, but do you remember the first joke you wrote that you were like, that's a fucking joke? Like perfectly.
It was I come from the finest white trash North Carolina has to offer. Actually, that's derogatory. I shouldn't say that. I prefer to be called Trash de Blanc.
That's great.
I still use that from time to time, sometime.
That's awesome. That's a good joke. That's fucking
and it also kind of established my persona, which was a little bit like the way I would describe myself on stage at the beginning was kind of like Fraser Crane.
Okay.
Kind of like that, and sort of above it all, a little sarcastic. I carried a glass of wine on stage, and
right.
It was sort of like I was being a raconteur.
Right.
And then eventually I realized that I didn't have to do that. I could just be myself.
Yeah. But you still, what's crazy? Because I remember the first time I saw you, you still have that kind of command over the room where, like, even if anybody thought about heckling you, I feel like they'd think twice because they're like, this guy definitely knows more than me. So
you know what? The first time somebody heckled me, it was at the brokerage on Long Island where we met.
Holy shit! No way.
Yep. And I was I think I'd been doing comedy about 3 years, and some guy was just like, "Don't quit your day job," and I was having a good set, but he wasn't having it. And so I said, "Excuse me, sir, do you really want to do this? Because I do this every fucking night of my week."
Right.
And we can play this game back and forth if you want, but you're going to lose.
Right.
You're going to lose because I've got the mic and everybody in here is staring at me, not you.
Yeah. Perfect.
So that was my first heckle line.
Nice.
But I remember the first time somebody yelled out that "Don't quit your day job" at Dangerfields, I didn't know what the hell to do. But then I went, no, I talked to a lot of comics. The older comedians when I first started out were very, very generous to me and very nice.
Who were those guys when you were when you started?
like Joy Behar and a bunch of people that became writers in California. A guy named Jonathan Solomon, a guy named Mike Royce.
Oh, nice, yeah.
But they were all very nice to me. And George Wallace, who is one of my idols, he said, I told him I'm having trouble with hecklers, and he says, "Who's got the goddamn mic? Who's got the goddamn mic? You?" So,
oh my God, he's the best, man.
He's the best. I'll never forget the first time I saw him at Catch a Rising Star, and he was such an old school comedian. Like I love old school jokes, like Rodney Dangerfield. My wife, what a cook! I didn't know toast had bones. I love that stuff.
Yeah,
I love that stuff. But George Wallace said, I was on a plane. This woman had the biggest titties you've ever seen, and she was she was nursing a baby, and she was in coach, and the baby was in first class. And I mean, it was one after another of those.
Yeah.
And I get really, you know what? Let me just tell you something. One of the reasons I get really defensive when younger comedians decry old school comedy.
Oh,
because that's where this comes from.
Yep.
I mean, look, you can say you're an artist and do what kind of, alternative comedy, which I call comedy that's an alternative to funny.
Yeah. It's opening up your diary and reading from it and hoping you stumble into something funny.
Oh, somebody came on one stage at one of those alternative clubs, and he put a blanket out on stage, and he was selling things off the blanket, and that was his act.
Oh my God.
That was
his
awful. Act. Yeah.
Just garbage.
And it was not funny. But but comedians can be very, very snobby, can't we?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because we'll look at him. Well, I mean, one of the first things that you'll get called is a hack. They'll say, "Oh, well, he's a hack." Well, I'm like, is he getting laughs or not? If he's getting laughs, chances are he's not that much of a hack.
Yeah, exactly. If they know what they're doing.
I mean, there's no such thing as a hack subject, only a hack treatment.
Yes.
Like I remember when Sarah Palin was coming, I must have seen 30 comedians do a variation on the "I can see Russia from my house" that she did, and I thought, you're better than that. That's why I don't do too much topical material, because it's dead. It's eventually dead. And so I never did one Michael Jackson joke. I never did one Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky joke or O.J. Simpson, except for the fact that this is true. I have never been interested in sports in my entire life because I was a terrible athlete. I was a terrible. When I went to summer camp and I had to play softball and I'd come up to bat, everybody would come in from the outfield. They'd come in. So, and they'd be placing bets. They'd be placing bets with each other to see who gets to catch Jim's ball. Right?
Oh,
but anyway,
fantastic.
I just never had any. I'd never had any sports. And so I did, and this is true, you're not going to believe me, but I did not know that O.J. Simpson was a football player until he got arrested.
Wow.
You know what? I'm right there with you. Not the OJ thing, I think. Oh, but the only reason why I knew OJ was a sports guy was because of Ace Ventura. And then he got arrested, and I was like, "Oh, that's the sports guy from Ace Ventura."
The only reason I knew who Michael Jordan was Space Jam, the Bugs Bunny movie.
That's beautiful.
This must be some famous basketball player I've never heard of. That's how.
I love that. I love that you said that. You know what I do? If I do topic, I guess I wouldn't even call it topical stuff, but I'll cover stuff that is generally topical by relating it to myself or my family in some way. You know what I mean? Like I'll talk about Trump towards the end, but it has to relate to a general experience as opposed to like what's in the news. I don't know if do you kind of approach it like that?
Well, see, the way that I opened this album, I say, you guys are either brave or insane because you're on a 9-day cruise where you can't get off the ship in the middle of a global pandemic. Not to work. and then I say, but for those of you who need some, for those of you who feel a little scared, I have some words of wisdom from our president. And I read this quote of Trump verbatim, which said, well, it could go away, or maybe it will stay. It could be at a smaller level, or maybe it'll be at a larger level. Nobody really knows. We'll see what happens. One day it will magically disappear, or it won't. And just on like that with his stupid stream of consciousness bullshit. And then that allowed me to go into a story about how I've met Trump twice.
Oh my God! Really?
I was able to do that, but I usually don't. I usually don't. The first time I met Trump I was at a Broadway musical in 1994, and he came to opening night, and I met him then, and I've got a picture of him on my phone. If you don't believe me, he and I, and let me see if I can find this. I just want to see if I can show it to you because it's really kind of a hoot. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Let's see. Can you see this?
You could.
That's me and the Donald.
No, but you know what? You could send it if you text it to me. I'll send it to Tom, and he'll toss it up on the screen.
Right up.
Yeah,
that's all right. I don't want to put.
I
don't know. That's okay. I don't like the picture of me, and I don't want this picture to leave my phone.
Oh,
I got a couple pictures like that. I get you.
Yeah, but anyway.
Oh, dude,
it's for real.
I know what you mean. Man. There was one of do you know Max Landis?
No.
He's the son of John Landis, right? And he got like Me Too'd. Okay. Yeah, he got like Me Too'd, I guess, in early when it was happening, like whenever it was going on or whatever. He's kind of a prick, by the way. Like I mean, that doesn't mean that people can, like, everybody we know is a prick, you know, to an extent. But he got Me Too'd or whatever, and I was like, oh fuck, and I immediately went on my website and like took down the there's like a photo of me and him at a UCB theater event thing, and they're just like, hey, and I was like, well, that's gotta go. Like that can't exist anymore.
Yeah. Do you remember
exactly Trump?
Were you like this at the beginning of the Me Too movement? Did you start to think about your past and go, okay, whose ass did I grab? You know, which woman was I a little too friendly with that's going to come and haunt me? Because I know a lot of comedians thought that.
It's kind of funny, but I feel like Tom's got a joke that he's gonna zing me with. So I'm waiting. I see him leaning into the mic like he's like, I'm like, do you want to get it out?
It's over now. You can't preface it.
Yeah, you can't. I realized I started to talk and I was like, Tom's got a joke. No, I mean, you know what's crazy? My friend and I actually talked about it a little bit when we were talking about like high school shit. But I was never that type of guy. Like, and I'm not saying this like a pat on the back type of thing. I just think
but
like,
you either are or you're not.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not that, like, I was never that type of person, or that type of guy or whatever. I'm much more like, I think I honestly think for the most part, I've had more women tell me to shut the fuck up during a thing than anything else, where I'm like, is this okay? Are you fine with this? Are you good with this? Like, even before like the Me Too movement, where they're like, if you don't shut up, you're gonna ruin the fucking mood. You're talking too much. You think too much, and I'm like,
There's hilarious. There's this hilarious movie with Barbara Streisand and George Siegel called The Owl and the Pussycat.
Yes,
and she plays a prostitute. She plays a prostitute, and the first time they're in bed together, she's going, oh, good. Attaboy. Yeah. No, wait, put your hand over there. But no, wait. Put your hand under there. Put your hand. Oh, yeah. And he goes, Doris, just shut up. You know, and he said, just shut up. It's ruining my concentration. And then she says, what am I, a chess problem? You know? So.
Yeah, I've been in. You know, it's crazy. I was talking to a friend of mine. She's a close friend. We were in New York. I was like just about to break up with somebody that I was seeing, but I hadn't done it yet. So I'm hanging out with my friend in New York, and she wants to hook up. And in my dumb mind, I'm like, I can't do anything because I didn't break up with this person yet. Even though the person that I was breaking up with, I'd found out cheated on me. I just hadn't seen her yet, so couldn't make a clean break. So technically, like, now I probably would have done whatever. But at the time, I was like 24, maybe 25. So I go over to my friend's house. We're in New York or whatever, and she wants to hook up. And she's just like, let's just fucking do it. What difference does it make? You're going to break up with her anyway. And I was like, I can't. I really want to. It's not going to happen. I got to split. And I know this is like any guy that's watching. This is like, you fucking moron. But I was like, no. Yeah, not going to happen or whatever. And then she's like, this is a one-time deal. Like, take it or leave it. And I was like, okay. Like, I knew it wasn't a one-time deal. But I was like, okay. So then, but she locked me in her room while she's like, just wait 2 seconds. Let me go change. And then she like closed her bedroom door. And I thought, that's weird. Why'd she close her bedroom door? Well, it fucking locks from the outside. So that happens, right? Or whatever. So nothing wound up happening. We did wind up hooking up like a week later after I broke up. But the Me Too stuff happens. And she calls me and she's like, how fucking hilarious is it that that I technically Me Too'd you? And I'm like, you're a goddamn monster. Like, but it's just so like, you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things that like the amount of shit that I feel like dudes just actually actively brush off. Like, I've been like, you know, I don't, you know, if this happened to you or back in the day when, you know, like at comedy clubs or whatever, but you know, like middle-aged women love to hit on younger comedians. So like whether they're in front of their husbands, whether they're not, but like the amount of people that I've had come out to me, take a photo, grab my hair, like, can I touch your hair? No, don't touch my hair. They do it anyway. Or like, I had one woman in the audience stand up during my set and ask me to turn around because she wanted to see my ass. So it's like, and I have that on tape, by the way. So there's like a list of shit that you're just like, you know, I feel like obviously everybody's different.
I think you ought to post an ass pic on Instagram. I mean, do it.
I want to see this video.
Tons of people are doing it.
I've got the video. I'm always waiting for the right moment to post it.
At a club, I don't know how many years ago, but let me see if I can do the face. This is what this woman looked like. She came up to me at the end and she goes, You're adorable. If you were straight, I'd be all over you.
And you were like, thank God I like dick.
God, thanks. You know, it's funny. It's funny you're talking about breaking up and everything. It just made me. I've only had my husband as a boyfriend, and I've never had another boyfriend. Nope.
Wow.
No.
That's very impressive.
Well, we're together. We're together.
You were together how long?
33 years.
Wow.
Wow.
That is the antithesis to everything I've made my life about.
No,
I don't have.
No, we found each other and I stuck with him. You know, because
that's incredible.
We've always gotten along. Yeah, and he's been taking care of me. We met on the dance floor of a disco at 1:30 in the morning.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that's nice.
And
in New York.
In New York, yeah. It was a classic gay disco called the Saint, which was like a 5,000 seat oval club with a planetarium dome on top. So when you were dancing, you felt like there has never been a dance club like that before or since, and there never will be.
Wow.
You know, it was quite amazing. And anyway, so it worked out.
So what's your secret to longevity in the marriage game?
Don't tell him when you're around. That was a joke. That was a joke. You're both like, really? Let me think about that.
I'm like, hang on a second. Say that again.
Yeah. Oh, it's really very simple. Don't ever go to bed angry, and try not to snap each other. And just be grateful at the end of the day that you've got. Just be grateful at the end of the day that you've got somebody who's going to put up with your shit. Because who's going to put up with your shit? I mean, really, you know what I mean? We all have a lot of shit that our spouse has to put up with, and so
yes,
you know, and that's the key to it. I think
I do believe that, and it's kind of crazy too because I'm 36. I don't think I'll ever get married. I don't have any inclination to, and I feel like that's a thing that you need to have. I feel like you really need to want it. I don't really, not that I don't have any feeling for it.
Yeah,
it just has to happen. It has to you just have to feel like it when it happens. If it feels natural, fine, go with it.
Right.
And if it doesn't, don't. You know.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
You know,
there's people that look for it, and I don't understand it.
You have to accept. Well, that was my problem before I met Dan. Is I was looking for it, like, you know. I'd go to bars all the time, and I'd go up to some single guy at the bar and go, "Is it you? Is it you that's going to be with me?" Yeah.
I got it. Okay. So there was a period of that.
Yeah. There's also a good thing about, you know, when you meet somebody, they have a whole lot of baggage, and you have to be able to deal with their baggage and their family and their friends, because you're not going to walk into somebody's life and go, "Oh, hi, you know all those things you used to do before we met? Well, you're not going to do those things anymore." That doesn't work.
Yeah, I agree. There's so many, dude, I've dated so many like women who do that kind of shit where they expect you to just stop dead talking to certain people or doing certain or whatever. And you're just like, holy fucking shit. Like, how is that possible?
Yeah.
the other thing is too is like, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, can we go back to my album? I just wanted to say something.
Oh yeah, yes, absolutely. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because I'm not really here to discuss my relationship because people can't buy that. But this album, it's so funny. This album has gotten more publicity and more ink than any of my previous albums.
Wow.
I've got 5 of them. The 5 are Eat Here and Get Gas, Live from Jimville, Notorious FAG, Hard to Swallow, and Gay Jokes for Straight Cruisers. And this is a hilarious album, but I think my best one still is the 4th one, called Hard to Swallow, because that's the most cohesively like a set. On this 5th album, I do a lot of crowd work, and it's fun.
Right.
It's fun, but the other one is the other ones are joke, and I'm really I'm proud.
Hard to Swallow is a tightly packed album. That is like just you're right. I think it is your best album because I do like Live from Jimville.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I do like that. That one's got good stories on it. But yeah, Hard to Swallow feels like you were when you did Hard to Swallow. Was it like you just had that set in your mind and you were like, this is too good not to get recorded?
Well, it was all the material. Yeah.
Yeah. You wanted, that's what I mean. Like all that material, you were like, I want this documented.
I want it documented because that's all. See, because the thing is comedy is not pop music. So comedy albums have a limited audience to begin with. You know what? It's sort of a shame though, because like back when I was a kid, my idols were Jonathan Winters, Lily Tomlin, Phyllis Diller, and Rodney Dangerfield. I think I told you my Dangerfield story, didn't I, when I met him?
I want to hear it again. You didn't tell my audience.
I mean, yeah. Well, Dangerfield was one of my favorite comedians because of the economy of his material.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a great way to put it.
Like hey, it's hard to be on top when there's no one on the bottom. Just lines like that. But right. I remember, I think I'd been doing comedy about 6 or 7 years, and it was a Saturday night at Dangerfield's. The room was packed. I was killing, which was hard to do in that room because it was a bunch of Long Island, New Jersey people who were rowdy and talking at their table and everything. But I really had them. And then I walk out into the lobby after my set, and there's Rodney. And he comes up to me and he says, What's your name? And I said, Jim David. And then he goes, oh, you're very funny. I seen you in there getting big laughs. And then walked away. Wow. And I was like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I would have. He's one of those dudes I would have loved. Him and Shandling and Robin Williams, I would have loved to have met. Those guys and Carlin.
Robin Williams and I sat at the Comedy Cellar table and dueling Lawrence Welk imitations.
Wow!
Oh my God! Oh fuck! That had to be amazing.
Do you know he may be before? Do you know who Lawrence Welk was?
Of course.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But Robin would go. Thank you. We're gonna get it down and get a funky. and I can't remember what I would do to say. Now up next, we're going to have Sly and the Family Stone, but Sly couldn't come, so we just have the Family Stone. But I'm going back and forth with Robin Williams doing Lawrence Welk imitations, and all the other comedians are sitting there going, it was really. I got a lot of props that night. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
I got a lot of It was pretty great.
That's incredible. Did you ever meet Shandling?
Just to say hello to him. That's it.
Nice.
But I've met most of them, except there's a whole generation of young comics now that I have not met, and they're all doing very well, and a lot of them have next Netflix specials, and I haven't met them.
Right.
I would think that a lot of them are now their favorite. Like coming up, they probably come over to you. Like you would be one of those people that they want to meet now.
The nicest things that it's happened to me numerous times that a young gay comedian will come and tell me that they saw my special my Comedy Central special, and they said if he can do that, I can do it.
Nice.
You know, and that I gave them the nerve because I came out on stage before my time. It was about 24 years ago, and people weren't ready for it. People were not, you know, like I'd go to a club and I would start talking about my partner at Helium in Philadelphia. I started talking about my partner, and some guy out of the darkness yells, "Hey, is this a gay bar?" And I said, "What?" And he said, "Is this a gay bar?" And I said, "No, if you want to go to a gay bar, you go outside and turn left, and it's down the street, and it's called the Mansion. And you go up the stairs." And then he said, "Well, if it's not a gay bar, would you stop forcing your gayness on me?"
Oh my God.
And I said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to ram it down your throat." and he eventually got thrown out.
Oh, nice.
But I had that a lot, you know. But now there's a ton of young gay comedians. They're all over the place.
You introduced me to one on one of our other shows. A young guy, long hair.
Jared Goldstein.
Jared Goldstein, very funny.
Yeah, he's doing very well because he has such a unique look. He looks like a Disney prince, and because he's half,
he does.
He looks like a Disney prince. He looks like Aladdin. He's like half Long Island Jewish and half Long Island Japanese. if there is such a thing,
right?
But yeah, he's gonna be quite good one.
Long Island Japanese.
He's very good now. But he gets cast in a lot of things because he's got such a unique look.
Right. And, yeah, I could see him doing the acting thing really easily.
Yeah. One of my earliest agents said, "I can't figure out what to do with you. I can't figure out what to do with you because you're too funny looking." You know, he told me I was too funny looking.
Did you want to? I mean, was it always about stand up for you, or did you have other aspects? Like, did you want to really act? Like, was it always just pure stand up, or were you like, I want to be an actor?
I got into stand up because I was being unsuccessful as an actor.
Wow. I guess I feel like a lot of people do that though.
Yeah. I came
but
to
they
New
don't
York
always make it. They don't always make it as a stand up though. They don't always do as well as a stand up.
Right.
You crushed
it was in stand up I found my niche. And so I found something that I could do. You know?
Right.
And so so it was I put acting behind me. I'd still love to do it. I mean, it's never too late.
Yeah, no, not at all.
I can always play a Walmart greeter.
I'm actually writing a script about one.
You are?
No. No. I will now though. But no, you know, like when you were starting out though, like what was so did you find your strength with performing or writing first, or were they both around the same and they grew together? Like were you stronger and
that's it.
Cool.
Because I go up there and you know I don't know if a joke works until I do it in front of an audience.
Right. And
so
you're good with the improvising. Like this album, by the way, I feel like out of all of them, I feel like I hear you having more fun on this one, on the new one, than the other albums.
Really? Well, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
I actually I feel like you were having a blast.
That's really good that comes across because you always wonder how it comes across in a recording.
Oh yeah. You could tell you're having fun. Like it just, I feel like it was in a way that makes me was like, I kind of wish I was there.
That's great. That's a compliment. That's a real compliment, John.
I'm glad, man. It's a great album. It's fucking awesome. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, if you don't mind, just like when you did come out on stage for the first time, how hard of a decision was that for you to make? Were you planning that? Did it happen sporadically?
I did it for revenge.
Ooh, I've never heard that before. Go on.
I did it because all these comics were going up before me and they were all talking about how they just broke up with their girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, you know what? I have a better relationship than any of these guys. So why don't I write some jokes about my partner at the time? You know, we're married now, but I mean, at the time I wrote about my partner, and one of my first jokes was, I did some ancestry, and my great grandfather was I have a great grandfather who was a Confederate soldier in the Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had a great grandfather who was an alcoholic one-legged shoemaker. And then my grandfather was in the Klan. And I'm a gay liberal New Yorker, so that fucking bloodline stops with me. So that was one of the first ways that I came out. And
I love that.
It was a little bit agonizing because people said don't do it. Some people said don't do it, it'll ruin your career, and other people said do it. And actually, when I finally came out is when I first got booked at Montreal, the comedy festival.
Wow, yeah.
Because the head of the festival said, "Thank God you finally came out. Now I can book you."
Wow.
And I was like, "Oh, you can't book me normally as a comedian?" But no, they knew that I was gay, so they put me on the queer comedy show.
Right.
But it was a lot of fun, and I got a lot of work because of it.
Nice. When Montreal back then, because again, like you started Comedy Boom '86, and then you did the Just for Laughs festival in its heyday. Have you been back there since? Like, do you notice a drastic? Because every time I talk to people who are who come before me or whatever, like I wind up missing the time that they're talking about because I enjoy doing it now and everything, but it does seem like a little bit of the magic is gone, out of it, or like just I don't know what it is, but like, I feel like was it?
I couldn't tell you because I haven't been for about 12 years.
Okay.
I did 4 festivals, and 4 years in Montreal, and then I did every year they do a Just for Laughs tour across Canada.
Yes.
With like 6 comics, and so I did that, and that was 26 cities in 5 weeks in Canada.
Oh wow. Okay.
It was one of the greatest experiences of my life.
You were there. Were you there with? I just talked to. I just had Joe Starr. I'm good friends with Joe Starr. You were there with Joe, right?
I might have been. I don't know. There were so many comedians there.
Right.
I'm not sure.
It makes me feel like because I know they stopped doing the Aspen Comedy Festival. Like all this stuff seems to be kind of shutting down, or kind of breaking away, which is fine. I mean, there's other stuff opening up for the rest of us or whatever. But I don't know. It just feels like there was a bunch of shit all the youngins kind of missed out on,
Well, it was like we were all, especially during the tough crowd years, which is 2002 to 2004.
Mm-hmm.
There was a sense like we were the in crowd in comedy. We were at least in New York,
right?
We were the guys, and so that was a lot of fun. And now it's kind of every man for himself. I feel like I don't feel like but everybody's doing a podcast, and everybody's doing one. Like lots of people are doing one of these shows, and I just couldn't tell you what it's like in the business now because I've been doing for the last several years. I've been doing mostly ships because I like the environment and they let me say whatever I want, and it's every bit.
That can't be that.
And well, it's also you're doing a show in a theater in front of 1,000 people, and you have two follow spot operators, and you have a sound guy and a stage manager.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a pretty big thing.
Was it a transition for you going from tight clubs, low ceilings, 100-seaters to theater? Was it like an adjustment?
Yeah, well, you have to learn how to play the room. You have to play a lot bigger.
Right.
You can't just stand there with the mic and then put your hand on the mic stand and just be casual.
You've seen my Instagram photos.
Yes. But that's in a club. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, so that was a big transition and also I wanted to say another thing. Another reason why I released Gay Jokes for Straight Cruisers is also revenge. Because for so many years, comedians have said working on ships is the lowest form of show business for a comedian. Yeah. No, it is fucking not.
Right.
You know what I mean? In fact, so many of the guys that said, what, you're going to work on ships, you're going to be a boat act, have asked me over the last several years if I can get them in.
Wow, that is the sweetest revenge.
I could name names. And so this was just my way of saying I can put out an edgy album, and it is edgy. you know, and I can put out an edgy album that was recorded on a ship, and it's just as good as any comedy album that was recorded in a club.
Yeah, one of my friends gets asked to do, I can't think of what cruise line it is, but she's a writer for a couple shows on Netflix, and she's a good stand-up, and you know, she gets asked to do the cruise, and she's like, fuck yeah, I'll do it. She's my age. And she was like, of course, I'm going to say no to a fucking cruise. It's a blast. Everybody's drinking. It's a great room. Like you just said, you got a stage manager, all that kind of crap. Like who the fuck wouldn't want to do it?
And it's also good. It's also good practice because you always have to do one clean show.
Okay.
You know, because there's kids in the audience. So you just have to you have to do stuff that either goes over the kids' heads or you know, the parents don't want to have to explain. But in your adults only show, they will or shows, they will let you say anything.
Nice.
You know.
Yeah. So you don't have to, because I've heard you had to run your material by somebody.
Not where I've worked.
Oh, that's great. Dude, I got asked to do, the only thing I turned down, this is when I was in LA, when I was living in LA, but I was going on so many auditions and I had a bunch of network meetings. I was pitching shit. So it wouldn't have been the right time to do it. But Disney Cruise offered me to do a 2-year contract. I didn't want to be locked into a 2-year contract, like onto their cruise things or whatever. But that they were the type that were also like, you need to write out your material and run it by us first.
Oh no, fuck that! I will never do that.
Yeah, I said no.
I couldn't possibly do that because also because you read it and it's not funny.
Right, exactly. That's what I was like. I was like, how the fuck does this even work?
Yeah, it's like you can't. You know, it comes across totally differently on the page than on the stage.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I was
would
like,
never.
This sounds like hell.
We have to approve your material. See ya.
Yeah, exactly. I imagined them airlifting me off of there at some point just because I wanted to go. Like, can you just call my mom?
A good many of the cruise lines right now are only hiring. I mean, maybe one or two. I'm not sure, but they're only hiring comedians for a 6-month contract. So you go and stay on that ship for 6 months. Wow. And I wouldn't anymore do that if I would go out of my mind.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd become a total alcoholic. I'd get fat. I just would hate it.
Right.
You know?
Let me ask you this. If Elon Musk successfully plans a trip to Mars, would you be the comic on that ship to Mars?
Oh, that would be so how's everybody doing weightless? What's it like having your balls float around in your
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that would be hilarious. I love that shit. Well, listen, I kept you for an hour. If you want to stay and talk more, I'd be happy to do it. But if not, if you got a hard out, I will absolutely let you go.
I actually need to return a call I got during the show.
I totally understand. It's Spielberg. I get it.
Before you go, I just want to ask one question.
Oh, that's right. We got to ask the question.
Everybody, and I think you'll be an epic person to ask this to. If you could give one piece of advice to your younger self when you first started out, what would it be?
Stop hating yourself.
Good advice.
Stop it. Stop thinking you're unattractive. Stop thinking nobody's ever going to love you. Stop thinking you have to be funny in order to get people to notice you. Just calm the fuck down and believe in yourself. That's easy.
Love it.
You know,
because
I was a mess up until I met my husband. I thought I was going to be alone for the rest of my life. I thought I was going to retire at the Port Authority bus terminal. You know, I thought it was all just. I don't know why, but I've had.
I get it.
I don't know why, but listen, I've had a good life. Mm-hmm. I was raised in the suburbs. I had a privileged upbringing. Our family never wanted for anything. My parents supported me in every way possible. When I told them I was going to be in show business, they were cool with it because they were in show business in their community theater. And I've just had a great life. It's like at the end of this wonderful Woody Allen documentary that's on Amazon, you can see it. It's a 4-hour documentary on Woody Allen. He says, I wanted to be a comedian and I became one. I wanted to be a writer and I became one. I wanted to be a film director and I became one. Every single thing I've wanted in my life, I've gotten. And yet at the end of the day, I'm going, why do I feel screwed?
I love that. You know what? You got to come back on because I'd love to talk to you about just our heroes, stuff like that too, because we both feel the same way about Woody Allen.
Mm-hmm.
And
I've seen the same.
I still have questions about you doing singing telegrams in chicken and pink gorilla costumes that we're not going to get to today.
Oh,
I don't know if this is true.
I'll tell you one story.
Okay.
A friend of mine who is now a Broadway stage manager, but he was also a struggling actor at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to have all these survival jobs because I couldn't take an office job because I had to be free for auditions.
Mm-hmm.
So he got me hooked up with the Eastern Onion, and you can look it up. I mean, this is, I swear on all of our lives, this is true.
Mm-hmm.
The Eastern Onion Singing Telegram Company.
Okay.
And it was on 14th Street between 5th and 6th. And it was this office on the second floor. And you'd go in there and see this morbidly obese man sitting behind a desk, looked like he'd never gotten up from that desk ever. He had the nail on the table with the pieces of paper through the spindle. You know what I mean? It was that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I would dress as a chicken or a pink gorilla and go to people's houses or homes or businesses or wherever. And I drove out to Howard Beach, Queens, for Grandpa's 90th birthday. And I parked the car in the parking lot, and it was on a gravel driveway.
Mm-hmm.
And I put on my chicken suit out in the driveway. Then I take the balloons out of the bag, and I go and bang on the door. The woman comes in and goes, "Grandpa, we have a special visitor for you." And I go in there, and people. A videotape exists of this because somebody had a camera, and I said, so I sang the birthday song, which is, "Would you like to know why I'm here? I am here because it's your birthday." So ridiculous. Anyway, I did it. Everybody applauded, and then I went back out in the driveway. Mm-hmm. As I'm in the driveway, it was a big San Diego chicken head, right?
Mm-hmm.
I could only see through the beak.
Right.
Couldn't see through the eyes, just the beak. So I pulled it off, and for some reason, the mask caught my eye, and my contact lens popped out, and it went down onto the gravel driveway.
Oh, shit. Wow.
So I'm down on the gravel driveway in only the light from the garage, light outside the garage. And I'm looking around for my lens. And then some guy comes out of the door and he goes, Hey, Boyd. Hey, Boyd. Hey, chicken. Hey, chicken, what happened? What's the matter? And I said, I lost my contact lens. And then he goes, ha, ha, ha. And then he goes, get a load of this. The chicken lost his lens. Come, everybody, look. Now I've got.
Oh my God!
I have 100 stories like that because I did this for
phenomenal.
I did this for like 3 years. Yeah.
Wow.
So
that's a great fucking story.
Went to a mafia social club, and I was a pink gorilla, and in a mafia social. It was like a scene from Goodfellas. It was exactly that.
Right.
And this guy comes up and he says, You do this for a living? And I said, well, part-time. And he goes, nah, you can't do this for a living. You got to be a male prostitute or something. Listen, you see over there, my cousin Gina, I'll give you $500 if you take her home and fuck her. She hadn't had anybody for ages.
So what'd you spend the $500 on?
On that note, thanks for having me, John.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Thank you.
Take care, Jim.
Pleasure.
Okay, bye-bye.
Dystopia tonight.